Hello everyone, DMGeezerjim here, doing another quick monster chat. Man, these are fun. These are quick. They're easy. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Got lots of other stuff, long form videos about module reviews, setting stuff. That library is constantly building, but kind of wanting to get into the shorter, quicker bites of information. I know most of us don't have an hour to sit around and listen to my grumbly old butt go on. Those that you do, I thank you so much. And if you're interested in some deeper, longer content, there's plenty of it on my channel. Subscribe, find some of those playlists you might like, and get in. But just doing monster shorts, trying to hit two or three things about different monsters straight out of the monster manual. Various guides, 5th edition D&D. We're using D&D Beyond for our reference, so most of the stuff I'll have to look up right there. You'll be looking at the stat block alongside of me, so there's no hidden information. We're just going to do our chats based on what's there. Some of the simpler stuff seems kind of self-explanatory, so I want to talk a little bit more about in certain cases maybe tactics. So today we're this one here we're going to look at the lowly wolf and its bigger cousin, the dire wolf. Kind of should be monsters that everyone kind of knows how to run, but do you really? And even if you do, maybe some stuff to think about that you can keep on the front of your mind to make the average wolf encounter a little bit more than what it is. Okay. So let's get on over. This should be pretty quick and short, but 3 things to keep in mind when it comes to running wolves and their big brothers, dire wolves. Okay, let's look at our 5e art. Oh, ugly, nasty, bloody mouth monster dog. But yeah, first and foremost, they're animals. So the first thing let's keep in mind is they are beasts, they are animals. Your player's going to have a lot of other ways to deal with these than just slinging and swinging their swords, okay? Uh, Obviously, combat is combat, it is what it is, but what do you do when your players want to use speak with animal, charm animal, animal handling, friendship, stuff like that? Be ready for that, guys. Wolves are they're not dumb animals, but they're not exactly the genius of intelligence of 3, wisdom of 12, instinctual. Their senses are high, but brain wise, I don't necessarily know that you want your wolves or any of your animals for that matter to be sitting there having long term conversations with your players. 15 years. You certainly can as a DM. Okay. And if you choose to do that, I'm certainly not saying don't do that. I guess what I'm saying is the first thing to keep in mind is there's going to be a lot of alternatives to combat, to dealing with a pack of wolves other than combat. Be prepared for that. Animals, speak with animals is now a big thing. A lot of options. This is one of the plus sides of Baldur's Gate 3. People are now realizing you don't have to punch everything. And as a matter of fact, it's a lot of fun to interact with things. So be prepared for that. If this is an encounter where the wolves have to fight, you better be able to back that up when the players come with speak with animal and say, well, what if we give you food? A wolf's a wolf. Okay, we'll take your fresh steak over having to fight you. Sure, why not? So the first thing to remember when you're dealing with wolves, dire wolves, is, give you a little bit more wiggle room because they're kind of dire, but you're not bound to it, is your players have options outside of just fighting. Be ready for those, think about those, and provide for good solutions for those. Don't necessarily feel like you're forced into, oh, gotta kill the poor doggies because we're rolling initiative. Encourage the animal the animal handling check is something right here. If your players put some effort into it and kind of look down away and kind of role play those moments out and engage in that, reward that gameplay. Don't necessarily revolve this on combat. Okay, first thing to keep in mind. Second thing is really going to be, and this will be a quick short video, but the second thing to keep in mind is their actual abilities. As usual, we're looking at armor class 13, hit point 11, an average. So they're not going to have a lot of hit points. Your biggest one might have 18 hit points as far as a dire wolf goes, or a regular wolf goes. Your dire wolf gets a little beefier. They go up to about 60 hit points with an armor class of 14. Other than that, a slight increase. They're interchangeable. One's medium, one's large. Your party's going to see the visible difference between a dire wolf and wolves. So if you're using a wolf pack based on that, you got to make sure that based on the stats, based on the appearance, and medium to large, that they're going to see that. Okay. Keen hearing and smell. Both creatures have a high increase on perception, high passive perceptions. If anyone's hiding and they didn't roll above 13, you don't even have to roll on perception. But if you decide that your wolves have to or want to or need to check, all wolves have advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on hearing or smell, which is basically anything your player is doing. If they're moving through the brush, your wolf pack's going to be able to keenly notice that. So your stealthers, your character classes that are moving around should have a harder time based on keen hearing and smell as they move through the woods, as they try to sneak around the ruins, as they do whatever. Your wolves are going to smell them and be able to react. The second thing and the most important thing is pack tactics. Wolves should never be fighting alone. They should always be fighting in packs. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to, you want to overwhelm your party with 7 or 8 wolves, but they're not obligated to kill them all. We'll get to that as part of the tactics stuff here, the third thing. Okay. But understanding pack tactics means the wolves have advantage on attack rolls against a creature if at least one of the wolves' allies is within 5 feet of the creature and the ally isn't incapacitated. First wolf hits the target. Doesn't matter your target. Wolves are, gonna be pretty smart. If you have 5 wolves, 3 of them are gonna hit the main thing, 2 of them are gonna flank around while the main thing's busy, right? That wolves being wolves. But they're never gonna solo attack a target because of pack tactics. So you should always have a lot of wolves, and they should always be attacking a target with the second or third one should always have advantage because of pack tactics. They're never going to one-on-one a target. They're never going to solo a target. They're going to work around, even if that means you give up opportunity attacks. It's okay, DMs. We can give up opportunity attacks as we move one wolf out to move another one in, and they take the opportunity attack as the first one circles out. Cool. Next one moves in. My other 2 move out over here, and 2 more move in. People only have 1 reaction. Eat those reactions up with opportunity attacks, especially with wolves with the speed of 40. They're able to hit and run and hit and run. Don't be afraid of giving up an opportunity attack once in a while to increase your battlefield tactic. That's not going to just apply to wolves, but keep that in mind with something with pack tactics. It's okay to give up a shot to bring something else in to gain advantage on your shot, okay? Second thing is their bite attacks. Wolves have a moderate, for their level, +4 to hit, challenge rating 1-4. That's a level 1 fighter, or a level 1 fight. 2 or 3 wolves is going to be a challenge for a level 1 group if you run them properly. 3. I'd never run less than 3 because of pack tactics. It just doesn't make sense for wolves as a rule. +4 to hit, reach 5. Pretty hard hit. 7 is an average. If the target's a creature, it must succeed on a DC 11 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. Now, being knocked prone isn't the end of the world when you're using pack tactics because everyone's going to have advantage anyway, but it is kind of scary for your party. It's going to eat up some movement as they stand up. It might limit some of what they're doing, so on and so forth. Prone isn't the end of the world, guys. Prone creatures' only movement is to crawl unless they stand up, ending their condition. Creature has disadvantage on attack rolls. Attacks have advantage if the attacker's within 5. Otherwise, they have disadvantage. So knocking a player prone at level 1 isn't the worst thing in the world. They're going to be able to stand up. And if you're using 2 wolves, the second wolf is going to have advantage even if they're standing up. So that's a kind of a thing. Now, using that as an integrated tactics with goblins, hobgoblins, everything else, that takes that to an extremely different level. And you definitely now are afraid of the bite. We'll talk about that in some more advanced tactics. We're just talking about wolves for this one, right? Just so you know, dire wolves are no different. They just have a little bit better chance to hit, a little bit harder on their DC staves, a little bit more damage. Dire wolves can be interchangeable. If you want to hit your party with 4 wolves at level 1, you can repeat the tactic with 4 wolves at level 3 and still have a challenging fight. If your party never fought wolves back in the day because you thought they were simple, run a pack of wolves at them, use your pack tactics, make sure your keen hearing and smells kicked in. All of a sudden, their stealth is gone. Invisibility is sound and smell. Okay, hearing and smell. Invisibility is sight, right? So a wolf's still going to have an advantage on detecting those dudes. Wolves are a little bit more potent than you want to think about them. And lastly, wolves are beasts. Wolves are animals. Number 3, they want to live. Wolves are not going to fight to the death unless they're protecting their young or unless they're cornered and have no escape, including taking an opportunity attack or using your action disengage and taking that 40. Personally, if you're fleeing, go ahead and take the opportunity attack, and if you're going to run, and then dash for your action just to make sure that your dudes are running, okay? So that's something that can help if you overwhelm your party. You don't have to fight them to the death. The wolves can run off at 50% hit point. And then when 50% of the wolves are gone, the remainder are going to run off. So that way you can hit your party with 10 or 12 wolves, really scare them, really have the pack tactics kick in, make your party understand, how easy it can be to get separated if they're in a tight group, things like that. Have a lot of fun with a heavy wolf encounter without forcing them to kill every wolf, because as soon as a wolf takes half of its damage, even if it's a dire wolf, unless there's some greater force compelling the wolves to fight to their death, unless there's some big bad standing there controlling them, an animal wants to survive. You're going to hurt it. If the pain exceeds the anger, it's going to leave. So hit your party with 15 wolves. They hit 4 or 5 wolves really quick. Round 1, do 50-60% of damage. Those guys are running. One might be dead. Round 2, you've still got 8-10 wolves to do a little bit more damage. Same thing happens. 4 more wolves go down. Round 3, the wolves look around. They've dropped half of their number. They start petering off as they do. They do one more bite and then run off. One more bite and run off. And the last couple just run off. So you've had a high intensity battle with your wolves. You've made your party fight. You've made your party think. You've made them bleed. You've gotten the tempo going. They haven't been forced to commit, dog-a-side. They haven't been forced to kill every wolf. You're fighting in a smart, intelligent way. So the number 3 to remember is wolves want to live. So you have full opportunity to use a massive pack tactic style without ever really endangering your party. As long as they're able to inflict 5 or 6 damage per wolf, wolf's going to run away. Next wolf runs away. They do a big old massive fireball in the middle of it. That's that moment for your wizard to shine, man. The whole reason they're carrying fireball or lightning bolt or moonbeam is to do this big blotter of damage. So this is an encounter, keeping in mind that wolves want to live, and you can use them in a large tactic as an opportunity for that player to have that shining moment. Yeah, throwaway monsters. So yeah, guys, wolves are a common creature. There's something that they make their way through every campaign, but they can kind of be throwaway. And I'm not going to deny that they're a great random encounter. They're filler encounters. They're fun encounters, but they just don't have to be kind of blah encounters. Use what we're talking about here. Make sure that they're running in pack tactics. Make sure that they're moving together as a group. Know their abilities, know their actions, know that they're going to move in and out in combat, and know that they're not going to fight to the death. And you can have a lot of fun with a big old massive pack of dogs attacking your party, jumping all over them, dragging them to the ground, snapping at them. And as soon as they start getting hurt, they yap, and run off. But remember, rule number 1, be ready for them not to fight. Be ready, above all else, be ready these days for your party to engage in role play, to engage in magic use, to engage in animal handling checks, things like that. Be ready for the orthodox stuff on the front end, and it might be a more interesting encounter than a bunch of wolves getting beaten to death and magic missiled. But if it's going to be a bunch of wolves, make it be a bunch of wolves. And take advantage of pack tactics. Give up the opportunity attack to bring 2 or 3 more wolves in on the target. Flank around with a pair and jump on the caster hiding behind. And when they start taking damage, they're just going to run off into the woods. 2 or 3 might die. 6 or 7 took some yipes, and they run off. And it's still a win. Your party drove off a pack of wolves. So yeah. The lowly wolf. Have a lot more fun with it, I think. If you give it a little bit of thought, look at their abilities, and think about the biology. I know this D&D versus logic is what it is. But, in this case, I think if you apply some of that, you can take your basic wolf and turn it into something a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more engaging, and a little bit more testing for your party. But hey, thanks for joining me for this quickie. Just talking about wolves, dire wolves. I know I was looking at the wolf the whole time. Dire wolf's the same thing, just a little bit bigger, a little bit scarier. Same rules are going to apply, though, because it is an animal. But have some fun with your animals, and give your animals a little bit more character when you're using them in combat. Don't just think of them as throwaway tokens on the board. Make them scary. If it's going to be worth rolling a combat encounter for, make it worth it. So if that means stacking the deck by throwing in extra 8 wolves to yip at and run off into the woods as soon as they get opportunity attack, so be it. But that's going to be a little bit more memorable of an encounter for your party. But hey, DMGeezerjim here, ending my little chat about wolves. Hopefully you've learned something or looking at our canine friends in a slightly different way for your next D&D encounter as a DM. And using them a little bit more often instead of the one and done that we kind of tend to do. But thanks for joining me with this. Like, follow, subscribe, shares, do all that kind of cool stuff. Join me over on Twitch. Over there every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, talking live tactics and what coulds and all that kind of cool stuff. So, yeah, you guys be safe. Thanks for joining me for this video. I would love to hear back from you in the comments. Any monsters, any critters, anything that you want to talk about, or anything that you want me to expand upon. Appreciate your time. Y'all be safe.